Okay, good morning. Thank you for joining the Washtenaw County Road Commission's virtual construction information meeting regarding the unpaved road improvements planned for Joy Road in Ann Arbor and Northfield Townships. Today, I'm going to go over some housekeeping items before turning it over to staff for a presentation about the project, and then we will open the meeting up for your questions. Joining me in today's meeting is Superintendent of Maintenance, Kenneth Harris, as well as Director of Operations, Adam Lake. The meeting audio and video is being recorded and it will be posted to the project webpage on wcroads.org in the next day or two. After the presentation, you will be asked to virtually raise your hand during the Q&A. I will provide instruction at that time on how to do this from either your computer, the Zoom app, or your touch-tone phone. The chat feature for this meeting is turned on. If you have questions during the presentation, feel free to ask it in the chat and we will address it during the Q&A. You can find the chat window at the bottom of your screen. Closed captioning is also available. To turn on closed captioning, you can click on the three dots at the bottom right of your screen. Okay, and the floor is yours, Ken.
All right, thank you, Emma. Welcome to the Joy Road Unpaved Road Improvement virtual public meeting. First, we'll go over the project limits of the project. Project limits are between Whitmore Lake Road and Earhart Road. This is in Ann Arbor and Northfield Townships. Go over the plan of the project. The scope of work includes canopy trimming, boom mowing, drainage improvements, which would include berming, ditching, culvert replacements, and then finally following up with limestone spreading on this section of road. Some of the current conditions out there on that road, as you see the photo on your left, shows overgrown brush along the roadside. Big thing for us is to try to clear that back to the ditch line to allow us better access for the water to get to the ditch. And on the right-hand side, you can see overgrown berm that's been there over years. You can see the water trickling down the side of the road where the water needs to get to, as that arrow is pointed off into the right-hand side, is where the ditch is currently located and the water is running along the edge of the road. So that berm has become an issue over the years on that section of road. Moving on to some of the items that we'll cover a little bit more in depth with canopy cutting. So our crews will be forming canopy cutting along this 3-mile section of road. Canopy cutting allows us to open the road up, allows the road to dry out, which in turn helps mitigate a lot of the potholing and wet conditions that we have on those, and also allows sunlight to get to those unpaved roads. Next activity would be boom mowing. Boom mowing allows our crews to push the roadside back, allows us to open up our ditches, and allows us to have better access to identifying what needs to be removed within the ditch line. So allows improved sight distance for drivers and also stops the vegetation from encroaching into the roadway. That first photo that we had shown in the slide started to show a lot of encroaching vegetation on the roadway, which we're going to try to push that back a little bit and try to mitigate that. Our next activity would be drainage. Drainage, main purpose of that is to get water off of the roadway. In this project, we'll be cleaning out ditches, pulling berm. We've got an estimated 6 culverts to replace in this 3-mile section of road. The berm built up along the road, as seen in this picture, is being pulled off, which allows water to get off the road and into the ditches where it needs to be. And finally, we'll be finishing up with a 10-inch compacted in place 23A limestone haul. This haul will be put down in 2 different lifts. We'll put a 5-inch lift first, and we'll come back shortly after that, put the other 5-inch lifts all in sequence. Once completed, the crown of the road will be a little bit high at the beginning. We'll come back a week or 2 later and also try to put a final shape on that road, which we try to blend in driveways, approaches, and also level that crown out to something that is appropriate for that current road condition. Talk a little bit about the funding approach for this project. This is a millage project that was for the 2021 and 2024 millage. We'll have some MTF fund associated with this, and the estimated cost for this project right around the $600,000 mark. rough tentative schedule, we plan on doing some canopy trimming, boom mowing here late March, and in conjunction with drainage improvements, which would include, as we had mentioned, some culvert relocations or culvert replacements, berming and ditching, and then following up in late April with the limestone spreading. The impact of traffic, there'll be daytime road closures. The only time we would have a hard close on our projects will be when we replace the culverts. As mentioned, there are 6 culvert locations to be replaced. Other than that, we'll have daytime road closures, which will allow access to school buses, emergency services, and trash trucks, mail services, all those activities. And lastly, you can see my contact information here if there's any additional follow-up questions or concerns about this project.
Awesome. Thank you, Ken.
Yep.
Okay, so now I'm going to take a second and I will show you guys how to find the project webpage on our website. Okay, so I've opened a regular Google browser and I've typed in our web address, which is wcroads.org. Once you get to the home page, you'll be able to see the top menu bar here. You're going to want to click on roadwork and construction. Once you do, there'll be a drop-down menu. The first option is going to be current projects. Once you click on current projects, you'll be able to see an interactive map of all the projects that we have taking place throughout the county this year. If you scroll further down, you'll be able to see individual project pages for each of our projects taking place this year. So here's Joy Road. If you click on Joy Road, you'll be able to see a general map of the project location, township information, the description of work. Over here under latest updates, you'll be able to see information regarding project updates, road closures, anything relating to the project. Over here, you'll be able to see Ken's contact information. So if you need to reach out for any reason, you can shoot him an email or reach out to him by phone. Additionally, on our homepage, I'm going to suggest for everyone to subscribe to these project updates. If you just scroll down a little bit and hit on subscribe to updates, you'll be able to subscribe yourself to any advisories that are going to be sent out, whether it's specific to the township, specific to Joy Road, or any other projects that you'd be interested in. Okay. So now we're going to go into the Q&A and we'll open the presentation up to your questions. Okay, if you're viewing the meeting on your computer, first make sure to click on Join Audio. You can then raise your hand by clicking on the Participants or the Reactions button at the bottom of your screen, and then the Raise Hand button at the bottom right of your screen. If you dialed into the meeting from your touch tone phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. As the meeting host, I will unmute participants with raised hands one at a time. I will announce your username or your last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. We are happy to answer as many questions as possible, but please be respectful of each other's time. If your question is answered before you are called on, you can lower your hand by clicking the lower hand button or the *9 button. Okay, so does anyone have any questions that they'd like to send through the chat or raise their hand and ask? I'll remind all the co-hosts in this meeting that you might have some questions that were sent to you directly into chat, so just to check your chat really quick. I'm not seeing anyone with their hand raised, and I'm not seeing any messages come through my chat. So I'll give everyone a few more seconds here. I will resend the project webpage and the link to sign up for road updates in the chat again, so everyone can check out the project webpage on their own, as well as subscribe themselves to project updates. Okay, and I just did get a question from Teresa. How far back will you be cutting trees?
So the canopy cutting we have on this is we usually go edge of road up. We don't intend on taking many trees. There's a couple of trees that need to be taken down. That is due to its proximity to a culvert. Those outside of that, we're planning on just going. We usually try to go to the edge of the road, but sometimes we have to go back to the edge to the tree line as well, just to try to get that whole branch so we don't leave a little stub off the edge of the tree. So, but as I mentioned, majority of the tree cutting out there would be just canopy cutting to allow our trucks to be able to dump, because we are raising the road 10 inches, so we do need to perform some type of canopy cutting out there.
And that work won't be going outside of the right of way. It'll be staying in the right of way, right, Ken?
That's correct.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, any more questions for us today? I'll give you guys just a few more seconds to raise your hands or send your questions into the chat. Okay. So once again, this is Ken's contact information. He'll be the one that's overseeing the project. So if you have any questions during the project or before it starts, definitely feel free to reach out to him either by phone or by email. Thank you so much for attending our virtual information meeting regarding the unpaved road improvements for Joy Road in Ann Arbor and Northfield Townships. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.